In the previous video, we talked about the overriding importance of stability using the axiom, you're not stable if you're not stable. And what we tried to do is create a stable athlete through structural posture, basics of biomechanics, and the kinetic chain, with the goal being no loose nuts or bolts within the athlete. And so now we want to take our athlete with his stable pelvic girdle and shoulder girdle and put her into a shell with the same idea of no loose nuts or bolts between the athlete and the shell. And we do that through what we call the principle of the pin. And again, elbows are of primary importance. All right, we start out, and the principle of the pin is basically you're always applying pressure against the pin in the direction of the blade. And it doesn't come from the thumbs. We're not applying lateral pressure with the thumbs. The thumbs are not meant to do that. It comes from the elbows. The hands want to stay soft. The elbows are always pushing into the pin in the direction of the blade. And they must stay, as we referred to before, as pronated. If they drop down at all, then we're using the wrong muscles, and we are no longer, we have loose nuts and bolts between ourselves and the connection to the shell. So when we're in this position at the release, the beginning, this is where the stroke begins. We make our release, and it's this mantle position hinged at the forearms, pressing into the collar, into the blade, through the elbows. All right? You can think of sort of having your eyeballs on your elbows, and they're always looking at the blade, okay? So here we are, elbows are in front of us, and they can't come back because then we've lost ourselves and we've lost the pin. So here we are, we're pushing this way into the pin, the collar against the pin. As we come forward, the direction of that force is now this way, and it's through here again. If the elbows drop down, we're in trouble. We then have to over-grip the handles because we're losing connection to the oar handle and to our bodies. So this part of the stroke in the principle of the pin is critical that we don't let the elbows drop. Okay, we keep them on this horizontal plane, pushing into the pin, and then we can do what we talk about later is the skimming method of applying pressure this way, and that is what draws us up into the entry. Okay, and then we're at the entry, we make an entry, and the drive is the same thing. Elbows looking and pushing into the pin. So it's not an ergometer, which is basically a one-directional, back and forth linear. This is, some people describe it as an hourglass. We're out here, comes into a sort of waist, and then it goes out again. But the force of your direction is always into the pin. That's what we call the principle of the pin. You apply that with your own stability, no loose nuts or bolts anywhere, and you will be stable and your shell will be stable.